Hi there, my name is Melissa McNeil, and this is my intro video for Special Education for School Administration. I apologize for the late submission. It's been a pretty crazy week, so here's to more time on spring break. A little bit of information about my school in general in my area. I teach in Falcon, Colorado, which according to demographics, it's about 14 miles east of Colorado Springs. And it's not incorporated, so I don't know the exact demographics of the city, town, whatever you want to call it. But it's a great neighborhood, a very close-knit community. I am currently a family and consumer science teacher, old school home ec, with a little bit more of a life skills career path methodology. Part of a FACS is the acronym, and CTE is we are part of the Career and Technical Ed department. Currently at the middle school that I teach at, we have about 930 students, last count. We have about 80 staff members, which includes all of the support staff and maintenance, building manager, and paraprofessionals. So it's a pretty close-knit group. We have a great administration staff. We have one feeder high school, which has about 1,200 students or so, 3 elementary schools that feed up to Falcon Middle, and 2 charter schools that may potentially feed up to Falcon Middle. So small community, but great area to raise kids. It's mostly homeowners. There's really no apartment living. Mostly, I'd say about half to 3/4 of the population is in some kind of a military branch, mostly Air Force, Army, and then we have a few specks of Marines, Navy, and even Coast Guard. A little bit about our facilities. We have a pretty great special ed department. We have about 3 to 4 full-time, I believe 4 full-time teachers, which all deal with different levels, physical and emotional. So as far as the school goes, we work with IEP, special needs kids, kids that are on 504 plans that need special accommodations. We have SED students who work with teachers to help with emotionally unstable students. So we actually have a room where kids may be there all day, and then there's that same room where if kids just need a little bit of a timeout, they're overwhelmed, they can go to that teacher and be able to do their work in a more quiet environment, so that they can still be with their friends, but they have a place to go to in case it gets to be too much. We also have a severe needs. We have kids with Down syndrome, hydrocephalus. Those kids usually have a full-time para with them. In fact, we just acquired a young boy who's actually a 5th grader, but he's such a big boy that he was a little too much to handle at the elementary school. So we actually have taken him on, and he's making some really big strides. So we just have a great staff. All teachers do have access to the student's IEP if that is your student. So there are some limitations. All teachers have access to student information to determine what their needs are, and that way we can make modifications as needed. So that way we can make their work manageable and give them the quiet space, or give them a place to take a test, or maybe we need to change it from reading to verbal, or maybe we can just give them a different assignment so that it can accommodate their needs. Use some of the tools we use, using online student portal more. So these are some of the things that I've identified that we can work on, that I need to work on. Using online student portal to make more identity needs. One of the things that I work on as an exploratory teacher, I get to see my kids every day for 9 weeks, and so it's a very limited amount of time, and in that time I have to not only learn new students' names, but also I have to kind of pick up on the students that need additional assistance or help modifications, whatnot. So that part gets very challenging. Find more ways. I have to find more ways to adapt writing and reading assignments. I have found that to be kind of a challenge. This is only my 2nd year at this school. So because I was hired on as an INR, intent to not renew, I didn't have any formal training on how to find student information, so I've had to do a little bit of learning on my own. So that's the stuff that I'm working on, is how to get to know the kids beforehand. And then also how to adapt, change certain lessons for 504 kids. These are kids that not quite at an IEP, but they've been identified to need specific accommodations just to make the lesson, the material, a little bit more easier for them to comprehend. And then some things in the future to enhance my current practices. One of the things that I've learned in the hard way in some cases, as I see kids that are starting to struggle, I kind of find out at the maybe 2-3 weeks in that they actually have an IEP, because I don't get a list. I don't get any kind of forewarning, hey, you're getting a kid that has special needs. So I have to kind of find that information on my own, which I can do, but it takes a little bit of effort. So in the future, one of the suggestions I would have is have the special education teacher actually send a list to all future teachers and say, hey, you're going to have the student in third quarter or fourth quarter, and these are their needs. And that way I know, I have a heads up. Just learning the student's IEP, what is it that they have, some challenges with, and what I can help them with. 504s, what is it that they need accommodations for? So maybe from their respective special education teacher, and that doesn't really require a whole lot of funding. It's really just a communication piece. Familiarize myself with the terms. One of the things that I found was this word cloud, which I wasn't able to fit, but I was able to fit it here. So here you can see all the different terms that I have to get familiar with before I even start dealing with some of these kids. So obviously the IEP 504s, pretty familiar with, but some of the terms, SED, SEID, there's some things that I've really got to get comfortable with so that I understand them. Just getting familiar with them and what do they mean when I get those reports. And then also taking the assignments as an exploratory teacher. Again, I don't have a whole lot of a reading. I have a lot of reading, but it's not, it's more like step-by-step directions, following directions, which is a life skill. So I don't need to do a whole lot of that, but I do need to make sure that the kids that are needing help with reading, that maybe I do it verbally, or I point to the words, like a third or a fourth grader would need, those kind of things. And like I said, funding should not be impacted by this, because this is more of a, more of a proactive thing, mostly dealing with communication. So that's all I have. I look forward to learning a lot, actually, about this course and familiarizing myself, because special needs teachers are few and hard to come by, especially quality ones, and I take for granted the staff that we have. We have an incredible staff, and in order for me to, as a building leader, in order for me to retain a great staff, I need to become familiar with a lot of that and kind of come into their world and appreciate each and every one of them, especially our kids, of course. So thank you very much. Look forward to getting to know one another throughout the next 9 weeks. Have a great spring break if you're not already on it.